What's good, YouTube? It's your boy King Longneck, and today I'm back with a new type of video. This video is the first episode of a new series that I'm starting. In this series, I'm gonna be trying to make my own map, but there's a catch. I can only use the toolbox in Roblox Studio. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty picky on what I wanted to add to the map, and you're gonna see in the video. But after a while searching, I finally decided that I was gonna make a New York map with the free models I'm gonna use. And you know, I wanted to pick builds from the toolbox that look somewhat similar to each other, because I found like a couple of buildings that were made by the same creator, so they all look the same. But then eventually I ran out, so I had to use, you know, some new buildings. So like I said, I'm trying to keep all the building, the style similar, you know, but I'm not using any imports at all, because obviously that's going to stand out and look weird. And let me say, there were a lot of the same import buildings in the toolbox. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. Alright, so the first thing I had to start off with was a road, because how you going to make a city map and not have a road? So I went to the toolbox and I looked up road, and then I was just trying to get a basic road. I ended up settling with, like, I guess the official road or whatever, because it had that little orange icon next to it. So I just got a road pack, really easy to use, and I think it's Roblox's official road pack, like I said, but I don't know. But that was just the best road pack for me. That's what I ended up using. Once I got the road pack picked out, I wanted to start on the map layout and foundation with the road, sidewalks, and streetlights. And luckily for me, inside the road pack, everything's pretty much already made, I guess, and it's pretty easy to move. I just put on one stud and there's like no gaps in between. So yeah, it was pretty easy to move around and set up. It was kind of like playing with Legos that were already pre-made, obviously. So once I started working on the road and getting the sidewalks mainly set up, I wanted to start adding buildings next. Before starting on the buildings, I wanted to make sure that I have like a little extra piece of the sidewalk, which would be like the concrete, because I don't want the buildings just to float on nothing. They kind of need like a foundation or whatever you want to call it under it. So I went ahead and like evened that out. I copied the sidewalk and then I pasted it on the side, and then I put it alongside of like the original sidewalk that's connected to the road. But this basically serves as like the concrete that the houses and buildings are gonna sit on. Once that was done, I just started placing down stores as I liked. I started noticing when I was placing on the stores that they do have interiors, so I'm gonna probably in the next part, or whenever I'm done with the full entire map layout, I'm gonna start putting interiors in the buildings, like the stores and the houses, because these are some pretty cool interiors that they have. They have front and back. So like, I even got confused right here. I thought that was the front side, and I realized, oh no, that's not the front side, that's the back. So yeah, these are like pretty cool. I tried to put them together, but eventually I'm pretty sure I just move it, because I don't like how they're side by side. It kind of doesn't look, I don't know, realistic, I guess. And some buildings just didn't fit in, so I just deleted them. But I wanted to get buildings on both sides. I noticed how some buildings had details on the left and some had details on the right, so there's me moving it. But the ones that had details on the right, I wanted to put it at the end of the little like store or whatever. Like you'll see in a second, like this one has details on the right, so I want the windows and stuff to be showing, so I'm gonna put space in between, like you see, like I did just there. That one has nothing, so I can just put that right there. And then yeah, it's just a lot of doing that, so I'll speed it up a little bit.
The goalkeeper on the beats.
Next was the trials and tribulations, trying to pick out which buildings make the cut, because the first buildings I picked up were all by the same creator, so they all look pretty much the same. So now I'm trying to find buildings that have similar styles. Like this one, I just had to remove the lighting, and that one was straight. And then I had to find some more buildings. Some buildings are just too realistic for me. Like I said earlier in the video, a lot of buildings were imports, and I'm not gonna use that. I want more like low poly buildings. Like I don't even know what the fuck this is. So I just like delete buildings that look too realistic. This was a little too realistic for me. So yeah, it's just a bunch of trial and tribulations. Next, I wanted to add some apartments to the city, because what's New York without the P's, you know? So I looked for some apartment buildings, and let's just say there was a lot of the same imports like I showed at the beginning of the video. But it took me a little bit to find the right apartment, because a lot of them were either too detailed or not detailed enough. So I was pretty picky on what I was going to choose, but I did know that choosing apartments would take up a lot of the map, and that would help me cover like most of the map. So I needed to choose a couple of apartments that I wanted to use. After putting in a couple buildings, I thought it was time to put in, these are probably my favorite little apartments or whatever you want to call it in the game. So it was time to place them to fill the map out. And I ain't gonna lie, these are pretty cool because they got a cool exterior and interior. It's not too detailed, but it's not too basic. So, you know, I'm messing with it a lot. I could definitely make these into like little like homes you can actually go into, and they're just copy and paste. So yeah. Then after that, I started putting in some filler apartment buildings just to kind of take up space on the map. And I kind of had to edit the buildings a little bit. I had to put space in between some buildings that were already there, like the little stores and stuff. But I didn't like how it was sticking out of the ground with that little concrete piece. I decided to ungroup everything and individually edit the building, and then individually just put them all back together real quick. It didn't take me that long to do. Next, I was deciding on which like apartment I wanted to use for like a big apartment, and I decided I didn't want to use this one. And then I end up using a new apartment. We're gonna skip to that real quick. But the only problem is, and you'll see in a second, once I use the apartment, I'm gonna fast forward past where I basically like set the apartments up. I realized that there was a piece on the apartment that was missing. At first I thought it was glass, but it's literally parts missing. And I guess I didn't want to go back, or maybe that's just how it was. But I ended up deleting it using a new apartment. For the final apartment I added to the map, this probably took the longest out of all of them, because I couldn't find why I couldn't find out why the glass was light, if that makes sense, or why the light was coming through the glass. So if you look at the Explorer on the right, you're gonna see me just click all the glass light and all that and try to figure out why is everything so bright. You know, I didn't like that. I literally like took the building apart to find out what the source was, and I'm not gonna lie, I felt stupid when I figured it out. But it took me a minute. I'm not gonna lie, it took me a hot minute to figure out, you know, why is this bright, you know? And you're probably like, dang, King Longneck, you are stupid. You're right, but at least I got it figured out. And it really looked like an East Brickton building. I'm pretty sure the name of the project building was called EB. So yeah. But after going around the map, adding a couple more buildings, I adjusted the final apartment, which is the final building of this episode. And then now you just get to admire the map so far. This is without any, obviously, extra details like graffiti, nature, like bushes and trees and stuff and grass and all that. But yeah, hope y'all enjoy the video. Hope y'all enjoy the map. Can't wait for part 2. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.